Welcome back to r/neighbors from hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. The first one is titled, Getting One Over on the Lazy Landlord Who Exploited Us for Years. Expanding on a comment I made on another submission, this was a few years ago. It is me, my girlfriend and our roommate. Due to our incomes being kind of garbage, we lived on the bad side of town because moving elsewhere was a bit of a tall order. Unfortunately, not long after I moved in, a pretty big event happened, home invasion, that sort of forced us to get right the hell out of there. But before we get to that, we need to go back. The landlord of this place lived a few states away. If we needed any sort of repairs, she would just send her family over to do it, but even then, they hated it to come over when we needed them. As such, a lot of the repairs we had to do ourselves. Shower pipe burst? We had to front the costs for it. Water line to the water heater ruptured? Again, we had to go to the homeless depot and get the stuff to fix it. This was all supposed to be covered as per the rental agreement, but we didn't want to press it too much because we were month to month and the roommate/girlfriend was afraid of the landlord tossing us out for being bothersome. And on the rare occasion the landlord's family did come over, we usually had to pay them. In rental environments around here, that cost is supposed to be covered by the rent we pay monthly, but seeing as we couldn't move at the time, we had to sort of make do. To make matters worse, we were under an HOA and they absolutely detested us. They actually had my car towed for not having a parking pass that they never issued, and we had to pay them $25 each to get our own. And none of the neighbors had them and got towed either. The best part though? Due to the agreement the landowners had with the city had no jurisdiction over that property. So the HOA was allowed free reign, and oh, did they abuse it. The whole situation sucked. But then our roommate's parents offered to help us move, and by that I mean loan us the money to cover the deposit to get a new place. Free at last. Of course, our landlord pretty much told us straight up that our deposit for the current place was gone, and well, yeah. Also, she expected us to repaint the place, fair enough, but since she didn't specify what color it was, the rooms got repainted a nice shade of orange and the kitchen got a nice shade of blue. We weren't done yet, we still had a ton of stuff that we needed to throw away and get rid of. And since we absolutely had it with the HOA, we just tossed it all on the lawn and put a curb alert on Craigslist. The HOA was pissed and charged the crap out of the landlord for it, and as a last FU to the landlord, all those repairs we paid money for? Yeah, we undid them to the best of our ability. We took the pipes we paid for, took the replacement appliances that we had to pay for, and so on and so forth. If our deposit is getting used to pay for crap that the rent should have paid for, well, we are making your life a living hell. Them's the breaks. The landlord eventually actually flew in from out of state to inspect the property and was incensed at what she was left with. She tried to retaliate, but we told her that if she tries to come after us for damages, that we have evidence, emails, text messages, so on and so forth, that she wasn't keeping up her end of the rental agreement as per law, and we would pursue compensation, so she would be better off leaving us the hell alone. Not sure the legality of all that, I'm not a lawyer, but it got her to shut up and accept her loss. And guys, please let me know in the comments if you would like to hear more stories about awful landlords, because that is another interesting topic that I would like to pursue. As usual, your feedback is very much appreciated. And the next one is titled Joffrey the Giraffe and the HOA. This is going back a good 15 years or so. I bought my first home and I was super excited to finally have a piece of the real estate pie. This was a townhouse governed by an HOA. My realtor went on and on about how great this HOA was. The pool was immaculate, the landscaping was done promptly every Wednesday and Sunday without a hitch, snow removal was immediate and even included my doorstep. Figured for the price I would have my own little nirvana 2 blocks from the beach. But wrong. The HOA president was a total a-hole. He and his cronies would pick a fight with me over stupid petty stuff. I would leave my mail in the mailbox overnight, I would get home late from a second job and would always grab it in the AM, which they considered to be a violation as there were store flyers peeking out of the box and it violated their neatness standards. I purchased a small trash can for my back porch to place my recycling in order to not clutter my kitchen counter with bottles and cans and was told I was accumulating hazardous waste outside my unit. Note, I emptied this can daily as I would exit my back door daily to walk my dog on the property line, which is where the dumpsters were located. If I sneezed too loud, he would find a way to make it an issue. I finally had enough and put the unit on the market. My realtor placed a for sale in my window that weekend when I was out of town and the HOA president lost his mind. I came home to 15 messages from all hours of the day threatening legal action if I don't remove the for sale sign, and why am I not returning his calls. Apparently, calling the number on the sign and asking the realtor to remove it was too much of an inconvenience for him. I took it down, called my realtor who apologized profusely for the oversight as she thought signs were prohibited outside the unit only. I was done at this point. This guy was being a prick to the highest standards. My day job co-worker and I were talking about these events and she and I came up with a plan that resulted in me being a spiteful ninny. She worked at TRU, whatever that is, I'm not sure, as a second job as the person who did a majority of their displays. They would toss the old cardboard setups, so she got the okay from the store manager to take the old Jeffries home. These were the tall mascot giraffes that stood on the floor with a base. One by one, we set them up in front of each of my windows. HOA president, as expected, lost his mind again and demanded that I remove these signs at once. I explained that they were not signs in the window, they were freestanding cardboard cutouts and there is not a damn thing in the bylaws prohibiting such. He threatened legal action, had the HOA treasurer fine me for my violation to the tune of $100 per giraffe. I disputed the fine and provided pictures of the freestanding cardboard cutouts and never heard another word on the matter. The next HOA statement showed only my monthly fee. I moved out a few months later and sold the unit right after. Never knew what happened in conversation with the HOA president and the treasurer, but I kept those Jeffries in front of my window until I left with no issue. And guys, if you have watched until here and despise HOAs, then I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and maybe even post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support my channel. Thank you so much in advance, your help is very much appreciated. The next one is titled Trashy Child, Trashy Mom, Trashy Yard. Okay, so buckle up as I unwind a marvelous tale of revenge, lust, betrayal and murder. Okay, maybe just some petty revenge, on mobile. Now look here, listen, I live in a nice residential neighborhood. We are the only college students in a sea of families. Because of this, I make a point to be respectful to these families, no raging parties, just the occasional bonfire. Not midnight screaming matches with the boyfriend, no loud intercourse noises, all in all, best college neighbors ever. However, there is the one woman who is always just a jerk. About once a calendar season, her and her boyfriend have screaming matches in the street between 2 to 4 AM. And I don't mean they fight for 2 hours straight and I could walk out and yell at them. I'm the kind of person who would do that. Instead, they fight, usually about her cheating, and then walk a few blocks down, I fall asleep, and then they come back just as I drift off. But you know what? I don't know her life, I let it slide. But this dick fuss of a woman, interesting insult by the way, also has a child. She yells at him a lot, but never at night. Again, not my problem. Until yesterday. The little heathen is prancing around my yard picking dandelions. Cool little man, do you. But no, I forgot this SOB is the hellspawn that even Satan didn't want to own up to making. Out of nowhere he kicks the full trash can awaiting pickup into my yard. This is not a bump, oh no situation. The little beast fled around the house, kicked it, sent everything flying. I was in clear view on the porch at this point, enjoying an after-dinner coffee, and I rightfully contained any swearing. Instead I say, "What are you doing? Pick that up." Not even a sorry as the kid dashes away to his house. I get up to cross the street to knock on his door, and no one answers. I know his mother is home, her car is there, the TV was on. But hey, maybe not. I'm not breaking down the door to find out. I pick up my trash and toss it back into the can and continue on with my night. Little did I know, the boyfriend threw out the cat food my cat did not like. I was unaware it still had food in it, which then scattered into my yard. Cue me waking up the next morning getting ready to rush to class when bam, trash everywhere, just as the garbage men drive by with an apologetic look. As I look sadly at the scattered dreams, a neighbor sitting on her porch calls out. Said she thought she had heard raccoons last night and then a bang. This is very likely since there was a trail of cat food leading up to a treasure trove of raccoon snacks. Well, time to skip class to clean up since I'm being watched. Now, my boy and I cook a lot. We always throw out our leftovers from the week on garbage night. Last night when I cleaned it up, it was still a bit cold. But now it has been baking in the unseasonably warm can and has festered. Nasty, gross, ugh. Plus, it has to go back behind my house until next week. Suddenly, the kid's mother appears and starts outright whining about how college kids are so inconsiderate, never take care of their yards, litter, etc. Okay, losing patience, but maybe she didn't know. I calmly explain what happened yesterday and how it most likely factored into the events of the morning. Never had raccoon problems ever before. I didn't even solely blame her kid, even though it only happened because of Deathwing Jr. She just goes on a tirade about how it couldn't be her flame imp of a child, how my yard always looked like this and I was just trying to blame it on her kid. Like really? I've always had bacon fat crusted boxes hanging out in my yard? And how she is glad someone finally made me pick it up, but if I don't stop involving her child, she would report me back to the HOA. And, we don't have an HOA. She proceeded to complain as crossed the street, while unfortunately not being hit by a car. Alright, long fuse, big bomb. I silently pick up the rest of the crap and ignore the neighbor's comments about what a horrid woman she was. Instead, I begin plotting. You see, the trench swan has a baby and I see her take out the trash at least once a night with what I assume are stink bombs of diapers. And guys, a little, well, I wouldn't say trigger warning, but the story might get a little bit disgusting soon. As soon as night falls, I enact my plan. I grab a handful of cat treats, the raccoon go bonkers for them, and make a small invisible trail to her trash can in the alley. I even prop open the lid with a stick. I'm barely out of sight when I see the first set of reflective eyes. This morning, I was woken up much happier at 7 AM to her screaming about all raccoons needing to be shot. Hey now, they're just trying to eat. I take a peek and they had not only thrown the dirty diapers and other trash all over the alley, but also dragged it all over the right side of her front yard. And guys, I'm getting the feeling here that raccoons might even be better revenge companions than crows. But let's see. It took her 2 hours to clean up after the hour of complaining while standing in dirty diaper scent range, hoping a neighbor would help her. Eventually, she made the kid come out to help. Why is he not in school like it's a frickin' Thursday? Now he knew, but there isn't a damn thing he can do about it. He just gave me the evil eye while I sat on the porch. That was a good cup of coffee. I'll continue to do this every few nights until the next trash day, so maybe a solid more times. Plus, raccoons get a nice snack. I just hope I remember to bring snacks next time. Note, if they put out traps, I will cancel the plan and disable the traps. No need for our furry scavengers to get hurt. And an update to the story, I tried to do it again last night, wanted to scope out the area. Dinah Squall is sitting on the porch in the dark, muttering in the dark to her boyfriend. I haven't seen them throw out any trash yet, no signs of raccoons either. Will update when I see them throw out something and reenact the plan. Last update, so I am too busy to maintain this threat or my revenge. My petty fire has died. I saw her throw out a diaper genie bag last night. Ew. And called on the coons one last time. It was messy as hell when I went to bed at 1 last night, cleaned up the morning for good measure when I saw her come home today after my classes. She looked dead tired. I'm amused. Goodbye. And guys, I don't know about you, but I think that was an absolutely amazing revenge story. I just love when animals are involved when it comes to getting revenge on an awful neighbor. And the next one is titled HOA Short Story. I was asked to post this here. I'm not sure it's a very interesting story, but here it goes. About 10 years ago, I moved into a basic middle-class neighborhood. It has an HOA, not really sure why, because it is not that kind of a ritzy neighborhood. The dues were minimal, as were the regulations. The dues went to pay for the gas lamps and mowing outside the entrance. I had gotten a great deal on the house. It was a starter house for the bachelor that I was. After only 2 days I realized I lived next to the HOA president. He was a real anal, yet slimy chicken crab bastard. He was always seeing me outside as I came and went trying to tell me how others were trashing his hood. I found out some years later he was the brother of the original developer. When the subdivision was built, he had just come off of a coke habit and his brother built him a house and had given him the title of King of the HOA. This guy was always manicuring his spread, but not really making any progress. He was tall and skinny, and he always had a pressed polo shirt and dress shoes he mowed the yard in. He would correct people's grammar and was a general OCD Hitler that most people hated and ignored. One summer I broke my foot at work and was laid up for nearly 8 weeks. I hired the cheapest guy possible to cut my grass. I was young and semi-poor, doing the best I could. This asshat next door would berate the guy while he was mowing. The next summer, to get him back and generally piss him off, I would wait till the day after he would mow, and then I would mow just a notch or two lower so it looked like he needed to mow. He mowed really high, so I could mow multiple times a week without over-mowing my yard. I grew up and got a family and moved away, but last I heard, the week after I left, he died of a heart attack from him returning to coke. I live in a better place now with sweet little old people who are very nice and helpful. And the next one is titled, Am I the Jerk? Suing my neighbor after she sprayed weedicide on my lawn. I caught my neighbor spraying weedicide on my lawn in my fenced-in backyard because she said she was sick of all the weeds and thought she was doing me a solid. I like dandelions, they are good for the bees. I have pet rabbits, dogs, cats and a tortoise. I like to roam the yard and all of them eat or at least nibble and lick the grass, so it is literally poisoning my pets. So anyway, I kick her the F out and take all my pets inside. Now 2 of my rabbits are dead and another is in critical condition. I will never be able to let my pets outside again to eat the grass because weedicide takes forever to go away because it can sit in the soil for who knows how long, and I am worried that the dogs and cats might end up having a reaction too, since they also nibble the grass. Call me overprotective or overcautious, I don't care, I love my animals. So I am suing her for damage to my property because it is now unusable for my animals, veterinary bills and emotional damage due to the death of my 2 rabbits. I am also trying to get the cops to pursue a case of animal abuse or at minimum criminal damage because she did basically poison my animals, but I doubt anything will come from it because I have to prove ill intent, but they are pursuing her for criminal trespass. She is a Karen. I think she deserves it for thinking she had any right to be on my property at all, and especially because it has killed my pets and now I don't know what to do about my lawn because I am not risking another animal's life by letting them out, at least unsupervised, for at least a year. However, my parents and my girlfriend think I am being unnecessarily cruel because it was an accident and she thought she was just being a good neighbor, and that I'm making it to be a bigger deal than it is, and should just ask for her to pay my vet bills. Edit info, she has asked me about the weeds before. I don't remember it verbatim, but basically the conversation was along the lines of her, "Hey, I see you have a lot of dandelions/weeds, have you noticed that too?" Me, "Yup, I enjoy the look of a natural lawn." Her, "Something about my new car." The end. Since she has a kid that she always asks can come over to play with my rabbits, I assumed she knew they ate them. If she was looking over my fence that often, she would notice the dandelions were only ever flowering in 1/4 of the lawn at a time because my rabbits got cycled in a way that most of the lawn was mostly weed free while the part they couldn't get to that week would be sprouting. Edit again, thanks for the messages guys, I'm taking the advice and getting a security camera and a padlock for the fence. Also, I am in fact getting a necropsy done. Edit, I have talked to her, told her that my rabbits died after the fact and there was staining on their pen. She said, "It is weedicide, not pesticide, they were probably just sick." Edit again. Last edit, this is blowing up too much, I gotta walk away. Sorry if I didn't answer your questions, but my rabbits were actually outside when she did this and there was a stain on their pen. I cannot prove it, but I'm pretty sure they got a direct spray. Update, I got a call from my vet Monday morning, the necropsy is back. My rabbits died from corrosion to several internal organs and had corrosive burns lining their mouth and nose. My third rabbit can also come home today and only has minor injuries to his throats and a small injury resulting in superficial hair loss and mild irritation on his nose. He will be on pain meds and just in case I have critical care ready. For those without rabbits, when rabbits are in pain and sometimes in mourning, they sometimes refuse to eat, so critical care is basically a mixed powder you can syringe feed to keep their digestive system functioning because GI stasis can be life-threatening. Also, I have contacted a lawyer to move forward with a lawsuit, but they haven't responded, probably won't until later today because I contacted them yesterday through mail. And for the lawn and garden people from my last post, the vet thinks the stuff the neighbor used was not a commercial herbicide because of those chemical burns as well as because it killed my crabapple tree and the bit near my fence and pool are bare. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. However, this is not the end of ripe content for you. I would highly suggest to check out my endless binge watch playlist, which will hopefully soon show up on the left corner of the screen, which will provide you with hundreds if not thousands of hours of ripe content. If you still haven't gotten enough, then please also check out my Patreon at patreon.com/ripeyoutube for more than 50 exclusive Reddit videos that you will only find on there. Furthermore, if you want to share your own story with our community, then please head on over to r/ripestories on Reddit, where you can share your own stories and there is a good chance that I might read it in a video. Thank you so much for your daily support and I hope to see you again tomorrow.